right now at 7.
Breaking news, a suspected hit-and-run driver plows into 3 pedestrians at a chaotic scene in San Francisco's Mission District. We're live.
The car is on the sidewalk and mows that person over. And then the secondary person with the impact also gets in.
We want to put our money where our mouth is in San Francisco when it comes to supporting San Francisco victims of crime.
Well, the ambitious new plan to pay people back when they get their car windows smashed.
Plus, the Bay Area police force using a James Bond-style gadget to stop criminals in their tracks.
Okay, I'm ready.
Bola, bola, bola.
And breaking news right now on the KPIX 5 News at 7 and streaming on CBS and Bay Area. Good evening, I'm Ken Bastida.
And I'm Elizabeth Cook. KPIX 5's Joe Vasquez is live in San Francisco's Mission District, where a hit and run left 2 people with life-threatening injuries. Joe?
Now, Liz, behind me, you can see the scene here. Investigators still on Mission Street, which is closed off here between 24th and 22nd. Now, this happened just before 4:30 this afternoon. Police say a maroon Prius ran over 3 pedestrians. 2 of them are in critical condition right now with life-threatening injuries. You could see in this video taken by a witness immediately after the crash that the victims were in pretty bad shape here on Mission Street before ambulances drove them away to the hospital. Of the 3 victims, 1 was in the crosswalk when he was hit. The other 2 were on a bus, the bus that got hit, and then as the bus stopped to let passengers off, 2 of those passengers were hit also by the same Prius.
The guy makes a left right-hand turn, hits the bus.
Right.
The bus continues. The driver comes onto the sidewalk. The bus goes where it's at rest right now. The passenger disembarks.
Okay.
The car is on the sidewalk and mows that person over. And then the secondary person with the impact also gets in.
Police say the driver of the Prius drove away, so this was a hit-and-run scene for a short while. But then a few minutes later, police say the driver returned and surrendered himself to police. At this point, it is not clear whether the Prius driver ran the people over on purpose. Police are doing a sobriety test on that driver right now. Bottom line here, we've got a pretty big scene here. We've got a major artery, Mission Street, blocked off for most of the evening and could still be blocked off for another hour or so, or perhaps beyond that as investigators continue their work here. Reporting live, Joe Vasquez, KPIX 5.
All right, Joe, thank you for that report.
An update now to a deadly crash in Vallejo. A car went flying off a road and slammed into a tree. We just got off the phone with CHP. They tell us that Vallejo police were pursuing a suspect when the car crashed on Highway 780 near Glen Cove earlier this evening. The vehicle involved was badly damaged and the driver was killed. A tow truck was called in to remove the vehicle. New at 7, BART police are looking for a suspect who attacked a passenger with a chain. It happened around 6 p.m. yesterday on a daily city-bound train approaching the Lake Merritt station. Witnesses tell police the attack was unprovoked. The suspect asked for directions and hit the victim with a chain that may have been a bike lock. The attacker left the train when it stopped at the station.
Well, it is one of the most common crimes in San Francisco these days, and now the district attorney wants to pay you back when it happens to you. CBS and Bay Area anchor Emily Turner joins us with a controversial plan to reimburse people for their broken car windows. Emily?
Ken, almost everyone has a story, or several of them, about the time they came back to their car to find their window smashed. Well, last year, there were almost 24,000 car burglaries in the city. But if District Attorney Chesa Boudin gets his way, it's only the San Francisco residents who will get paid for their trouble, and not everybody is on board with that. It doesn't take long to see why San Francisco's property crime numbers are almost 2.5 times the state average.
Robberies happen within 2 to 3 minutes.
So the new district attorney is now asking the city to help fix the problem, but not in the way you might think. Chesa Boudin wants $1.5 million taxpayer dollars to make SF car owners whole when their cars are broken into.
This is a victim's first district attorney's office, and we want to put our money where our mouth is in San Francisco when it comes to supporting San Francisco victims of crime.
The program would focus on SF residents only, not all cars broken into. So about 8,910 on average over the last 2 years, Boudin says. If you have insurance, you don't get paid. but you would receive the money if you have a deductible or no insurance at all, making the city the payer of last resort. It sounds like a pretty sweet deal to some.
Yeah, it sounds good to me.
But not everyone is on board, especially critics of Chesa Boudin himself.
I think the DA needs to prosecute the people that are robbing the cars instead of letting them drive right back home again. I think that you're handing public money out because you refuse to stop the crime.
A crime that goes without an arrest 99% of the time. Though Boudin says most of the cases they do have a suspect for are prosecuted. It's still an underwhelming rate, but he says they're working on it with police, and in the meantime, paying people back is a good place to start.
We hope to hire San Francisco labor and San Francisco locally owned businesses to do the auto glass repair. So the money's going to stay right here in the community. We're going to have San Franciscans helping San Franciscans solve problems that we all know are facing our community.
We reached out to the mayor's office for her response to this $1.5 million idea. Remember, of course, Chesa Boudin was not London Breed's first choice for the DA job. We didn't get a direct answer, but did get a statement that says she plans to work with all departments on the budget, but, quote, directed all departments to propose 3.5% targeted efficiencies and reductions in order to address the $420 million deficit and to prioritize funding to help people suffering on San Francisco's streets. So the proposed budget comes out in May. We're going to have to wait and see how Boudin's big plans fare. Liz, back to you.
Emily, thank you. Several Bay Area companies and nonprofits are being subpoenaed as part of a widening public corruption probe in San Francisco. City Attorney Dennis Herrera announced today he is requesting documents from 8 companies and organizations, including PG&E, Recology, and Lefty O'Doul's Foundation for Kids. This all stems from an investigation into former San Francisco Public Works Director Mohammed Nuru and restaurateur Nick Bovis. Both were arrested on federal corruption and fraud charges earlier this month.
New at 7, tension boiling over on the UC Santa Cruz campus. More than a dozen demonstrators arrested today while fighting for a graduate student pay increase. And today marked the 3rd day of protest. Students are demanding higher wages for graduate teaching assistants to offset rising housing costs. Hundreds of demonstrators locked arms at the busy intersection of Bay Street and High, backing up traffic around campus. Police in riot gear ended up detaining 17 of the protesters who refused to leave.
Me down to the ground, forced my hands behind my back and carried me away. 4 cops.
The students were arrested when we voted to stay until they would be released, and they voted to slightly release them.
Now, teaching assistants are demanding a $1,400 a month cost of living adjustment. They say they will continue to withhold grades for undergraduate students until the university gives them a raise. Administrators say that's illegal for them to negotiate with strikers because the protest is unauthorized by the broader union.
It looks like a gadget out of a spy thriller. KPIX 5's Julia Goodrich shows us the new tool Foster City Police are using to catch bad guys.
At the beginning of the shift, go through a check just to make sure the device is working. It's the aiming laser.
This is the Bolo Wrap, a high-tech version of an old-fashioned throwing weapon used to capture cattle.
This is more of a restraint, not a use of force.
It shoots out 2 metal pellets with hooks on the end connected by a Kevlar string. The idea, to slow down a suspect.
You really don't need a good aim because the laser shows you exactly where the wrap is going to be.
It's just loud.
Very loud.
Does it hurt?
I haven't been wrapped.
You're going to be.
So I'm just going to take the device off safe, cock the hammer back so it's ready to go, and then deploy it. All right, Chief, ready? Bola, bola, bola!
You didn't even move.
Yeah.
Did it hurt?
No.
Are you just saying that because you're the chief?
No.
Okay, my turn.
And if you see where the green laser is, that is where the Bola Wrap will be deployed. Okay, I'm ready.
Bola, bola, bola.
Oh. Okay. Initial reaction, it was loud. I can't move. I didn't feel it.
Other police departments have been trained to use the Bolo Wrap, but Foster City is the first to start using it out in the field, Bay Area wide.
Juliette Goodrich, KPIX 5.
Up next, a partial legal victory for Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes.
A judge makes a big decision about what prosecutors can and can't argue in her trial.
I don't see her product as a threat to the industry. I feel her messaging is a threat to the industry.
Plus, a vegan company in the Bay Area now locked up in a legal battle with the state over butter.
And it's been a bone-dry month in the Bay Area, and fire crews are taking notice. The worst-case scenario they're preparing for.
But it does dry out our brush and our timber models to critical levels a lot earlier than we normally see.
And we're going to take a look ahead to any possibility for rain, not just in the next 7 days, but even beyond that. That's what it's come to. We're going to have to look past the 7-day for it. And how about those temperatures? Tomorrow, we start getting back closer to average. I'll show you what that looks like coming right up.
A bone-dry month could mean an earlier start to fire season if things don't change.
Yeah, February is supposed to be one of the coldest and one of the wettest months we have, but no rain has fallen in the Bay Area and is not expected for, well, a couple more weeks. In the San Jose Hills, grass that is typically up to your knees this time of year, only a few inches high. Shorter grasses mean less fuel to burn, and if the dry weather continues through March and April, then that's a whole nother story.
There is some growth happening, but without any more rain, you're not going to see a large grass crop. But it does dry out our brush and our timber models to critical levels a lot earlier than we normally see sometime around July or August.
So, Darren, any chance we're going to see anything in the next week or so?
Very little.
Oh.
And in fact, Liz, it's too early to say it's not going to rain in the month of February. But when we look at the long-range forecast going out for the next week and a half, I don't see any. Now, that gets us within a week of the end of the month. So then you got to start thinking, have we done that before in February? No rain for the entire month? Yeah, but you got to go all the way back to 1864. And I picked out the top 5 driest Februaries. Keep your fingers crossed. We do not have to join this list. It's not very likely, but at this point, it is a possibility to keep an eye on. All right, let's talk about temperatures first. Did you notice the cool down today? I doubt you did, because we were still well above average. But we did cool down. In the North Bay, Santa Rosa, it was 8 degrees cooler today than yesterday. San Jose, we only cooled down 3 degrees. Now, tomorrow is the day it's going to start to resemble average. The big numbers in the middle show you where we're actually going for the daytime high tomorrow. And then for comparison, this is what average would be. And then we did the math for you. That shows you how far off the mark we are. San Francisco, it'll actually be cooler than average tomorrow. But San Jose, we're still 6 degrees above the mark. Before we get there, morning lows bring us back down into the mid-40s for most places. That's a 39 for Santa Rosa, though. So it will still be cold in the North Bay tomorrow morning. Let's get everybody in here. The lot of mid to upper 60s in the South Bay tomorrow. Cupertino, 65. Milpitas, 65. The East Bay, Walnut Creek will hit 64. Concord's going to 65. Notice what happens right in and around the immediate bay. Look at Mill Valley, San Rafael, Berkeley, Alameda, Richmond. Those are all upper 50s. That's where we really feel the cool down tomorrow. The closer you are to the opening of the Golden Gate tomorrow, you're going to feel more of an onshore flow and actually be below average tomorrow. Nobody else does that. Everybody else will still be in the mid to upper 60s. Look what's going on out in the Pacific. There are storms out there. One way out there, one right here. Let's take a look at that one, because the Futurecast sees rain in that one, brings it ahead, and by the time we've gotten to tomorrow night, there's the possibility for some light rain to get here, but as we play it forward, it completely falls apart. And if we watch the accumulation from that, it's all staying in Northern California. But here's where it gets a little depressing. Not just looking at the next 24 hours, but looking at the next week and a half, we can do the same thing and just play all the storms forward and look at that big donut hole where we are. And it doesn't end there. I'll play this all the way ahead to Saturday. Not this Saturday, next Saturday, February 22nd. And at least according to that one long-range model, we're not getting any rain from now till then. So certainly in the 7-day forecast, I don't have anything. And if you look at next week, it's plenty of sunshine, and temperatures do come back down to average. So there's no rain, but we're also not going to see the big spikes in temperatures like we had yesterday. No more record-breaking days, but it's still going to be nice. All right, guys, back over to you.
Darren, thank you. Well, here's what you missed if you're just getting home right now. Democratic lawmakers are demanding an investigation after the Department of Justice reversed course on a sentencing recommendation for President Trump's longtime ally, Roger Stone. The president congratulated Attorney General William Barr for overruling the initial 7 to 9 year sentence recommendation from his department's own prosecutors in favor of a lighter sentence. But the Justice Department insists there was no coordination with the White House.
And I didn't speak to him, by the way, just so you understand. They saw the horribleness of a 9-year sentence.
Meanwhile, a San Jose judge has dismissed some of the charges in the criminal trial against Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes. Yesterday, a judge ruled that prosecutors can't argue that the now defunct blood testing company defrauded doctors and insured patients. Their argument, the insurance companies paid for Theranos' blood test, not the people themselves. However, Holmes and Balwani, her partner, are still facing wire fraud charges. We're less than an hour away from the 40th season premiere of Survivor. Survivor Winners at War features winners from each of the past seasons. But there's a new twist to even the playing field a bit, a form of currency.
It's in the form of these fire tokens. And in the beginning, the players have no idea. All they know is they have this thing. They know it has value. They just don't know what kind of value and what they're going to be able to do with it. And then as the weeks proceed, some of the players start to figure out, oh, this is a total game changer. And the smart ones adapt quickly and use it to their advantage.
One of the contestants is Yul Kwan, who lives in Los Altos. His wife is helping coordinate a premiere party in Cupertino at Stein's Beer Garden in North Wolf Road. More on that tonight at 11 o'clock. Ken?
Sounds like fun. All right, Elizabeth, coming up next, moments after they started charging their Tesla, they heard an explosion. The scary fire that left one child badly injured. And a Bay Area battle over the word butter. Why one vegan company is now suing the state. And then later, something new at SFO. But the question we want to know is, who is this meant for?
Bob, have you ever come to an airport just to look at airplanes?
Never.
Would you?
No.
Officials in Southern California are investigating a garage fire that started while a Tesla was charging inside.
Yeah, cause of the fire still under investigation, but the homeowner says that she heard a pop this morning and then smelled smoke before the flames broke out. One neighbor says that some of the older homes in the area still have aluminum wiring. Well, it's unclear whether the old electric systems could handle the load of a charging Tesla. Well, one young girl was sent to the hospital, but we're told that she is doing okay.
A Sonoma County plant-based food company is suing the state of California. Miyoko's Creamery turns cashews, oats, and legumes into items that taste like dairy products. Their best-selling vegan butter just got picked up by Costco. But the California Department of Food and Agriculture sent the creamery a letter asking it to stop calling their vegan butter butter. The letter says Miyoko's packaging is creating an erroneous impression with consumers.
I don't think there is a single confused consumer out there. No more than a consumer is confused when they order almond milk. They know it's not dairy milk. In fact, they're ordering almond milk because they don't want dairy milk.
The letter also says the company website must remove the picture of a woman hugging a cow because it implies that's where the product came from.
Coming up next, a new observation deck at SFO that does not require an airline ticket. Well, we have a first look at the Sky Terrace observation deck at SFO. $6.3 million project, part of the remodel of Terminal 2. The perch offers 180-degree views, and visitors do not need airline boarding passes to access the bright indoor-outdoor space.
Bob, have you ever come to an airport just to look at airplanes?
Never.
Would you?
No. Well, the goal here is to kind of add a bit of the fun and excitement back to aviation. We're hoping this space does that.
Well, all about fun. The Sky Terrace opens Friday and will be open to the public every single day.
Well, thank you for watching tonight at 7 o'clock. The news continues streaming on CBS and Bay Area.
And we'll be back here at 11 o'clock with more local news for you. Have a good night.